Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, it's gaming's biggest night, the third annual Cartridge Awards. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how you doing on this third annual Cardies?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing so great. I'm so happy to be here. We're both in our tuxes.
We are in our finery.
We are putting on our best for NCS.
And we must. Tonight is the night when gaming's biggest superstars come out to shine and grant us all momentary invincibility. I'm so excited to be hosting the Cardies with you again this year. It's an honor to be just even in the conversation with them.
Absolutely.
Before we get into anything else, Mark, my copy of Sonic Forces, people can borrow it if they want. All they gotta do is email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
and give us a mailing address. We can send you my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. There may be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in the box instead of Sonic Forces, but that's like a 50% thing. Like the rest of the time, Sonic Forces will be in there. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. I pay for postage both ways. It's the perfect borrowing program. Mark, are you ready to get into it and do the Cartridge Awards?
Let's do it.
All right, so every year, Mark, we come up with a couple of categories that we think shape the year. Sometimes it's categories that shape like the entirety of Nintendo. And we've got some great categories this year. I'm very excited to discuss them with you. Mark, let's why don't you introduce the first category?
All right, our first category for 2022 is Most Accurate Zelda Subtitle.
So this is an interesting category, I think, because I think there are a lot of losers in this
There
category,
are, yeah.
Right? Like A Link to the Past, sorry, you don't make sense
Yep.
as a subtitle for that game. But so I came with 3 nominees, Mark, and I'm curious if we have much overlap here.
Yeah, I'll be really curious too, because I came with 3 as well. And for me, my take on this was almost like, which ones were the most literal?
Yes, yeah, because there are some, I think neither of us have Breath of the Wild. Is that right?
No, I don't have Breath of the Wild on here.
Breath of the Wild, very evocative, very poetic, and in its poetry evokes the game. However, is it accurate?
How much breath is there in there?
Look, there is a lot of wild, but is the wild producing breath? I don't think so. Yeah. So I also went very literal on this. Here are my 3 nominees.
Okay.
Twilight Princess, Spirit Tracks, and Ocarina of Time.
Oh, very good. We actually only have one overlap.
Okay.
I like Spirit Tracks a lot. It wasn't one that immediately came to mind, but when you were saying it, I was like, oh yeah, it is very literal.
Yeah.
There's train tracks.
And you're accompanied by a ghost.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twilight Princess. Maybe I don't remember the plot of that one that well, but remind me why is that one really good?
So that one's really good because Midna is the Twilight Princess.
Well, then there you go. That feels right.
That she is the leader of the Twilight people. She is this like princess living in exile.
Okay.
And she's one of those and spoilers too late for the end of Twilight Princess. But like, you meet her as this like mischievous imp character.
Right.
And in the role of like the Zelda ally, which is traditionally like an obnoxious character, which Midna can be, but then she just reveals herself to be so much more. She's hiding in plain sight with you the whole time. So yeah, that's why I went with Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that's very good. So the one that we have in overlap is Ocarina of Time.
Seems like a gimme, right?
It does.
And like part of what's so good about it is like, especially I shouted out Link to the Past earlier as like a bad name, but like there's like a time travel-y kind of thing being hinted at there. but like there actually is time travel in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Link to the Past is kind of doing like a Back to the Future type thing where you're like, okay, you go with it, but when you actually think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
He's trying to get back to the present. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
But then, but Ocarina of Time is perfect.
Yeah, agree.
It's exactly what's on the tin. But let me tell you my other two.
Yeah.
Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. It does what it says it's going to do.
I love that. I love that as a pick here.
Incredibly accurate.
Uh-huh.
And then my third one was Skyward Sword. Lots of sword being held skyward in this one. And again, my mind went totally like literal.
Yeah,
where it's just like, oh, okay.
So neither of us went with Majora's Mask, which I did consider for a second.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. I guess
something about it being named after what is effectively the villain that I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good pick.
But neither of us, it wasn't nominated. So
yeah, but it wasn't
just
nominated.
one of those years where like maybe the most deserving one wasn't nominated.
it just happens. Politics.
Yeah, what
right?
are you gonna do?
Yeah, Skyward Sword was out there glad handing people.
I do. Is there? We played this game like a year ago, and I can't remember anything that happened in it. Does Link wield a sword called the Skyward Sword?
No.
Okay, so it's just about.
I don't think so. I think they like tell you to like hold it skyward. And in the final battle with Demise,
right, you have to.
You are like doing that, so you could. So yeah, like I think it's Ocarina of Time.
I think it is just by the sheer fact that we both nominated it.
But I do think Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link is an incredibly accurate subtitle.
It is. Look, it is true, but also it's like a sad, tragic adventure, right? Like Zelda is asleep, the kingdom is in ruins. Every time you die, Ganon returns. I guess that's an adventure, but it's also like there's something profoundly sad about it. All right, but it's the Cardi for most accurate Zelda subtitle goes to The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Congratulations,
Ocarina of Time.
Finally, you're winning something.
Finally, normally so frequently overlooked. All right, our next category is Best Waddle Dee in a Supporting Role.
So I have 3 nominees for this one as well.
I also have 3 nominees for this one.
So my first, should we go back and forth? How do you want to do that?
Let's go back and forth. But I wanted to just say where I was coming from on this. I was just picking Waddle Dees from the most recent Kirby game.
Oh, okay. I did not do that, but I do have one from the most recent Kirby game.
Awesome. In the most recent Kirby game, this is my first nominee. In the Waddle Dee town, there is one Waddle Dee who is sitting by the pond. He's sitting on a bench. He has a soda next to him. He has fallen asleep.
Oh, that's so cute.
You can drink his soda, like you can suck it up into your mouth, and he doesn't mind.
That's adorable. A lot of these are adorable.
Yeah, they're Waddle Dees.
My first one is also from Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and it's the commentator Waddle Dee.
This was one of my nominees
who's
as well.
at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
He has like these big blue, like thick glasses.
They're like Harry Carey glasses.
Yeah. And then a huge,
just enormous
yellow bow tie. And he's commentating, during like the battles and all of that kind of stuff in the Coliseum. Love this little dude.
Well, and so he's like sitting at a booth, like at the entrance to the Coliseum. But it seems as though he is doing his commentating from that booth because there's also a big microphone in front of him, like one of those like wrestling or like boxing microphones that like comes down from the ceiling. He's the complete package. I think that the commentator Waddle Dee is like almost a perfect Waddle Dee.
It's so good.
He's very adorable.
And yet we have more to nominate.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, my second nominee is the Sailor Waddle Dee from Kirby Superstar.
Okay.
So, why do I like this one? Well, wears an adorable white little sailor hat that has a beautiful blue ribbon. And he...
Classic sailor hat.
I mean, that's it. So he serves under like Meta Knight on the halberd. And he doesn't get a lot of characterization. I don't even know if this Waddle Dee has a name in at least the Super Nintendo version of Kirby Superstar. But I mean, put a Waddle Dee in a sailor hat.
No, it's a winning formula.
Table for one, please.
That's right. I don't know what that means. Table for one. Table for two, you want to take him out,
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Just eating alone.
Yep, no,
thinking
you're right.
about the Waddle Dee in the sailor hat. Okay, my third nominee, because my second was the commentator Waddle Dee as well. My third is the cafe manager Waddle Dee in the Kirby and the Forgotten Land. He's wearing like a little paper hat because he works at like a little restaurant. Also, this guy, he's a job creator. You can get a job from him working at the cafe yourself. I went back and forth between like, do I like the worker at because there's the cafe worker and there's the cafe manager. I went with the cafe manager because he can get you a job. The cafe worker, he can sell you stuff.
Yeah, Patrick, big proponent of Kirby-an trickle-down economics.
No, stop it.
No, it's a great pick.
They're all working together. He's wearing a cute blue hat.
Oh my gosh! Again, you put a hat on a Waddle Dee.
Yes,
I'm there. Table for three.
That's well, all right. So we're both taking him out.
And then my third nomination is the bandana Waddle Dee from Rainbow Curse. This one.
Oh, that is a great pull, Mark.
So the reason I chose this one is not because I find it adorable. Because I like a bandana Waddle Dee, but
sure,
you put him next to other hats and the bandana's not going to win. But what I like about this Waddle Dee is that Rainbow Curse is the Wii U like Kirby game where you don't control Kirby directly. You're drawing on the gamepad this like ribbon or like rope that Kirby is like following, and you can like push and prod him along.
A novel but frequently limiting and frustrating concept.
Yeah, and we played some of it and talked about it as part of our Weird Kirby games in Kirby Month from March of this year. But the reason I chose the bandana Waddle Dee from Rainbow Curse is because you can play in co-op in Rainbow Curse, and one person has the gamepad and is controlling, like Kirby and drawing on the pad. Then the other, I think multiple people can play, but the other people are just playing as bandana Waddle Dees, and you don't really. You have it's
just
spear,
like regular play.
But yeah, you and so it is, in my experience, like really crazy to control Kirby with like the rainbow string, but also like challenging to be Waddle Dee when a lot of the levels are designed for Kirby.
Right, you really have to work together with the first player who has the gamepad controller in their hand.
Yeah, so it just feels like this bandana Waddle Dee is like a real like workman.
Yes.
Like really get in there in the dirt.
And also just is part of something so like innovative and fun and cool. All right. So our nominees are the Waddle Dee sleeping by the pond, the cafe manager Waddle Dee, the commentator Waddle Dee, the sailor Waddle Dee, and the bandana Waddle Dee from Canvas Curse.
Rainbow Curse.
Sorry. Yep. What are you thinking here, Mark?
So my mind immediately goes to the commentator Waddle Dee because
we
there's
both
overlap there. But you brought ones to the table that I hadn't thought about, like the cafe creator and like that sort of stuff.
He's a cafe manager.
I'm sorry. Of course.
But you also brought things to the table that I was not thinking of, and I think the bandana Waddle Dee. I think that's the right choice.
Yes.
Not as cute.
Yeah,
as
I know,
the
and that's the only reason I kind of like sucked in air through my teeth. That's the only reason. He's a very deserving winner.
Well, and I think also that he should win so that we can avoid any appearance of like malpractice on our award granting body here.
You're right.
Because in reality, you and I just want to go on dates with the rest of
No, this is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Do I want to smooch him? I do want to smooch him.
You do want to smooch him. You do want to smooch him.
Yeah.
Okay, but the award is going to the bandana Waddle Dee.
Because they earned it.
It's earned.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
for sure.
All right, great. Mark, would you like to introduce our next category?
Yes, our third category in this year's Cardies is Best Nintendo Game with a 3 in the title. Fitting that would be our third category.
And an absolute coincidence. Mark, I cheated on this one. Did you cheat on this one?
I don't know. Possibly. I guess we'll find out.
Here's why we're doing this category. This year was a big year for threes. Splatoon 3, Bayonetta 3. There's another
Xenoblade
one,
Chronicles 3.
But Nintendo has a long history of having games with the number 3 in the title. Let's go back and forth. I will go first. I recently decided this is in my top 5 video games of all time. Super Mario 3D World.
Patrick,
Yes,
this
Mark.
was also one of my nominees.
Yeah, so we both cheated here, I think.
But why? How is that cheating? It's well, actually, I hope it's not cheating because my second nominee is Ocarina of Time 3D.
Oh yeah, what a great pull!
Like a great version
Yep.
of one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. My next is Star Fox 3D. No, it's not. Star Fox 64 3D. But no. This is another one where I am cheating.
Okay.
But because it's not a game that's developed by Nintendo, but it is only on a Nintendo platform that there is a 3 in the title of this game. I'm referring, of course, to Final Fantasy VI/Final Fantasy 3.
Oh.
A game on the Super NES that I adore. Has every time I revisit, I find something new to love about it. The characters are very well developed, and the only time that you can call it Final Fantasy 3 is when it was released on the Super NES in the States.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
I like it. My last one, I thought about it's Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
And it's weird to say like I thought about it a lot, but I did. I wasn't sure like should it go on this list? You have Super Mario 3D World on there. Do I love Mario 3 because it's like because it holds up and stands the test of time, or do I love Mario 3 because it's one that I played when I was like a little kid? And I think it might be a little bit of both, but I just felt like it needed to go on here if we're talking about great Nintendo games with 3 in the title.
It is truly a great game, right? Like there's no denying that. I think it does hold up. I think it is, dwarfed by a lot of other Mario games, but it is, a Stone Cold classic. It can't not be on here. My final nominee for Best Nintendo Game with a 3 in the title is Splatoon 3, which does, of course, have some recency bias here. But what a fun! Mostly, I just want to support the Splatoon franchise. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I totally get it.
And I love the direction that they're going as they make sequels of this. And I hope they can just like keep putting out games in this franchise.
Well, speaking of which, this is one that I don't know that I believe in, but I'm going to nominate it.
Okay.
And that's Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh.
I don't know that it's the best Nintendo game with a 3 in it.
Sure.
But I really loved my time with Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I don't know how I missed that. I should have nominated that.
And it's not like
I'm withdrawing my nomination for Splatoon 3.
I know. Wow, so much for wanting to support the Splatoon franchise. I did not really have a ton of interest in Fire Emblem beforehand, but so much of Fire Emblem Three Houses, like the monastery part of it, where like you're doing like the school and the character interactions and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It all just kind of like came together for me, and it made me excited about the Fire Emblem franchise in a way that I never was before. And so, is it one of the best Nintendo games of all times with the 3 in the title? I mean, maybe. How many are there?
I think it's worth being nominated. Okay, so the nominees in total are Fire Emblem Three Houses. Splatoon 3's nomination has been revoked.
Whoa. I mean, it can still be in here.
It's been revoked. It has been revoked.
Wow, it's not even nominated anymore.
Price Waterhouse Coopers has thrown it out. Final Fantasy 3, Super Mario
Brothers
3D.
3.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3D World, and Ocarina of Time 3D.
Okay. Who do you think is the... So again, we got to talk about Super Mario 3D World. We both nominated it. Is that our answer? Because we both selected it.
Yeah. I think it might be.
Again, I believe this game is now in my top 5 of all time. I've played through it to completion twice each time it was released.
One of the things that I think is really cool about Super Mario 3D World, and is very unique in first of all, 3D World is just like a new unique Mario experience.
Yeah.
In general,
it's 3D land erasure, but yeah.
And then you add like the multiplayer element of it, and
which is a game changer. Like
it is.
I was mostly joking around about 3D land erasure, but like it totally does have the same relationship from like Super Mario Land to Super Mario World. Like the world version of it is just so much better.
And then you add Bowser's Fury to it in like the Switch version, and I think I feel good about going with Super Mario 3D World.
All right, let's give it to Super Mario 3D World, the best Nintendo game with a 3 in the title. From Nintendo Cartridge Society, please welcome Patrick Ellers and Mark Mitchell.
Music has been called the universal language.
And our guests tonight speak it with the grace and poise of a dowager countess.
Separately, our guests tonight are mere idols. But together, they're deep cut.
Man, it's always great to see Deep Cut perform live.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, let's move on to our next category. The most reassuring thing about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailers, I guess.
Trailers, yeah.
We've seen multiple now. The most reassuring thing that we've seen about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailers.
I mean, we talked a lot about how nervous we were
Right.
before these trailers were released. Restless nights.
Yeah, and it's I feel as though I can't be hurt anymore, right? Like things that I love put out bad entries in franchises all the time, right? I've been inoculated against this since 1999 with the Phantom Menace. And I feel like no matter how bad it is, I would get over it.
Right.
But there are some things we breathe sighs of relief when we watch these trailers. For a couple different reasons. Mark, my first nominee for most reassuring thing about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer, Charlie Day.
Oh, that's a good one.
Charlie Day, and it's almost one that I doubt myself about, because I love Charlie Day on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think he is. They're all great on that show, but he brings a unique kind of energy where it's just like, oh, who even knew that was part of like his comedic sensibility? It's just like it's something that comes out of. It's either natural or it is he's such a gifted like performer that like he's found such a clear character game, and he's so funny as that character. I don't always actually end up loving him in other stuff. Like I remember thinking the same thing about like Horrible Bosses or like in Pacific Rim.
Right.
That I'd be like, oh, I love Charlie Day. The Charlie Day parts of this are going to be great. And they're not always. But he seems to be killing it as Luigi. So Charlie Day is my first nominee.
No, I think that's a great one. It's funny you say Horrible Bosses because I feel the same way about like Jason Bateman.
Yes.
Where I really liked him in Arrested Development.
Yes.
And then you see him elsewhere. And I don't really like him that much that
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
But
like you need to be surrounded by worse people for me to find you likable. Yeah.
But I feel like Charlie, I totally know what you're saying about Charlie Day. And I think the fact that it is like voice work.
Yes.
And so it'll be like Charlie Day performing Luigi.
Which he totally sounds to be doing too.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I do think that that's really good. My first nomination is also voice acting related, and it is Jack Black as Bowser.
We can never let him down.
I think he sounds really good as Bowser.
I think so too.
And like it was one of the things that, when there was voice casting, we were certainly not fans of, like some of the casting of it. But like Jack Black, I think we always felt like pretty good about, and then seeing the trailers, you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna turn out fine.
Yeah, well, and Jack Black is one of those performers where it's like, he like works well in like kid property. Like he works well with kids. Kids respond to Jack Black. He's Poe the Panda. He's School of Rock, right? But he's also just like so like subversive and funny and genuinely punk rock that it's just like, yeah, Jack Black.
Yeah.
All right. My second nominee is Peach in her fire flower dress.
That was so good in that second trailer.
Yeah, in the second trailer, she touches the fire flower, and you're like, okay, power ups, whatever. Mario's gonna wear a Tanuki suit, fine. All of that is whatever. There's another level of like, just in the weeds of the princess can touch the fire flower, and the colors of her dress change so she can throw fireballs. It's just dope. It's a fun little detail, and I like how current it is to Nintendo mythology.
I really liked that as well. My second nominee for the most reassuring thing about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailers is that the Toads sound purposefully annoying.
Yes.
And that is reassuring to me that they're like, oh, okay, like they get it. Toads are obnoxious.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah. And they're and they should sound annoying, and that is what we want, because Toads could not sound like they sound in games,
Right.
and you would not want that for a movie. But I feel like this was a great way of honoring how annoying Toads are.
Right. But they are still cute.
Yes.
Which I won't say that that's something that's reassuring to me, but I do like it.
I like it as well.
Mark, my final nomination is I'm nominating an absence of something in these trailers.
I wonder if we have the third nomination, but please go on.
No needle drops.
Oh, okay.
It would have been very easy, and I've seen some fan re-edit trailers with like pop songs in them, and that's a bad move. It's stupid. It makes it look like every crappy Illumination animation movie. This is just Mario music. No needle drops.
Oh, that is very good. Mine is also the absence of something, and that is there's been nary a fart.
Nary a fart
in any of these trailers.
Now, if there is a fart joke in the movie, I might be okay with that.
If
there's one,
I'm willing to see it in context.
Right.
Also, I don't know that there's no farting. Like that might be one of the Toads like acting secrets.
Yeah.
Because every character has a story.
Sure, right, and not every fart is audible. Certainly.
Right.
Silent,
so I have no proof.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that in the trailers so far, there's been no farting.
6 strong nominees here.
Yeah, I think we might be feeling okay about this movie.
I think we are. I think
Yeah.
we're just generally over the course of time we become more and more positive on it, which will make the inevitable fall so much worse. Who do you think takes it, Mark?
So
can I tell you where my heart is leaning right now?
Please.
Is Jack Black.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I think they're all strong. I think Charlie Day's Luigi, great pick.
Can I make a pitch against Jack Black?
Oh, please.
Not against Jack Black the man, because again, we've got to support him. We got to have his back. We can never fail him. Is that that's actually not one of the reassuring things about the trailer. That was one of the reassuring things about the casting announcement.
That's true, because when when we saw the performance in the trailer, it was good.
Confirmation.
It was confirmation, but you're right. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief,
right,
like I did with some of the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel that way. I mean, honestly, for me, I think it comes down to the absence of things would be the ones that I was really kind of just clenched waiting for.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, because there were so many moments when a fart could have happened.
Yeah. Or that a needle drop,
could have ruined everything.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, so it's going to go to either absence of fart or absence of pop music.
Uh-huh.
Mark, where do you think it should go?
I think because this is a wholesome show, and we've said the word fart
too many times, frankly.
I think
we're going to get that explicit label on this episode.
I think it should go to no needle drops.
No needle drop is the winner of the most reassuring thing about the Super Mario Brothers movie trailers. Mark, I will introduce the next the next category, which is been suggested by a listener. Thank you, Xander. The best non-Ganon villain in a Zelda game.
This is good. Last year, you may remember that last year we gave an award for best Ganon in a Zelda game.
That's right. Turns out there are a lot of Ganons.
Turns out there's also a lot of non-Ganon characters too.
Yeah, so I only came in with 2 nominees.
Okay.
Because I thought of one, and then I thought of a second one, and I was like, I don't know how you beat the second one. So I'd like to hear your first one first.
Okay, I have 3, and my first one is not Ganon, It is Demise from Skyward Sword, and
Demise is great.
and the design of like the final form of like Demise at the end of the game is very reminiscent of Ganon. Has like literally like fiery orange hair and everything like that.
Well, and like he's a like progenitor of the same evil energy that Ganon that will become Ganon.
I think one of the I really enjoyed the story of Skyward Sword, and one of the things I thought was very cool was kind of like seeing the beginning of the Zelda franchise and like seeing Demise, but I also thought it was really it really hit me at the end of Skyward Sword when you defeat, in air quotes, like Demise, and he's like, I'll be back. Like, you don't get it. Like, I don't go away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna basically like haunt this place for like generations until I finally succeed.
Yeah.
And then every Zelda game basically after that is that. And I really liked that. And so I thought Demise was a very the downside to it all is that you only see Demise at the very, very end of the game.
Right. And he isn't really motivated beyond like cause terror in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. But so my first pick was Demise.
My first pick from The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes is Lady Maud. So this is, Triforce Heroes, a game built around wearing different costumes and fashion and what the fashion does for your abilities as you're going into these multiplayer Zelda arenas. And Lady Maud is like the sister or former partner of Madame Couture. She you're collecting her her like the pieces of her outfit like as you're adventuring throughout the game. She's the one who has cursed the princess to only wear drab clothes. She's got just too much of a renegade style that she couldn't even be accepted in a village that is all about fashion. So I liked her as a little bit of like a Miranda Priestley, a little bit of a Cruella, Emma Stone Cruella like thing going on. And I just like the specificity of that villain.
That's a great pull. I like that one a lot. My next pick is Majora from Majora's Mask. I think that's just what we colloquially call the spirit that possesses the mask is Majora. The thing that I like about Majora is that it is such an agent of chaos. Like it seems to like cause insanity in people.
Yes.
It itself seems to be insane. It's almost like the Joker of.
It is a little bit like the Joker
of the Zelda universe.
We should ask how it got those scars. So this is kind of my second nominee is Majora, but as it is represented by the mask on Skull Kid, because there, that is kind of two characters rolled up into one, but it makes the Skull Kid's thing so much more tragic, right? Because the Skull Kid is like an imp of the forest, right? Who like sort of lives a consequence-free life until it encounters the most evil object in existence. It's sort of its own like Lord of the Rings drama rolled into like one thing that is the villain. So yeah, it's that, and that's where I stopped. Where I was like, oh yeah, I can't actually think of a better villain than Majora's Mask on the Skull Kid.
It is very, very good.
Yeah.
And one of like the rare Zelda instances where it's like Majora all the way through.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that is the big bad. There's no like reveal. There's no turn. There's no like surprise.
It throws the moon at a town. Oh, that's so cool.
I do have a third pitch or a third nominee. I don't know that it beats out these other ones, but Girahim.
But it's an honor just to be nominated.
Exactly. And I hope Girahim remembers that. But Girahim from A Link to the Past. One of the things that I like about Girahim is
Girahim from Skyward Sword, or
Aghanim. Sorry, I had it written down wrong. But yeah, Aghanim from Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about it is I feel like Aghanim like gets the job done.
Yeah, he does.
One of the rare villains who's
He
just
opens
like,
the portal to the dark world. Yeah.
it's just like, well, that's what I came here to do, you know?
And gets killed in the process too. Like as you're beating him, he's like, "Well, you may have beaten me, but I also already accomplished what I set out to do."
Exactly.
Like, so congratulations, you're a murderer, I guess. All right, but we think here that the award is going to go to Majora.
Yeah, I feel like, of the non-Ganon villains, Majora looms large.
Yeah, absolutely. So best non-Ganon villain in a Zelda game goes to Majora, the mask on the Skull Kid's face. Mark, our next award is outstanding performance by hair on a Nintendo character.
And so many Nintendo characters with great hair.
Just absolutely phenomenal hair. Sometimes the hair is like an integral part of what you're doing in a game. Sometimes it's just great hair.
Yeah, one I wanted to nominate, but just couldn't justify with its, like post Nintendo exclusive existence was Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 4. I really wanted to.
Yeah, that's great.
Because that's some pretty great hair.
It's great hair. I feel like his hair is better in in Resident Evil 2.
I respect your opinion, but I strongly disagree.
What?
Yeah.
All right, who's your first nominee?
My first nominee is Dixie Kong. Dixie Kong has hair that gets it done.
I disagree. The hair is useful, though.
The hair is incredibly useful.
Yes.
You can use it to pick up barrels, and it's like prehensile hair.
Right.
You can use it to pick up barrels and throw things. You use it as like a helicopter to slow down your fall. You can use it to grapple. Like
and not just slow down your fall, but like kind of like
give you a little up. Yeah, I mean the hair does it all on Dixie Kong.
That's funny. There was a while where I was like, that hair's got to be a wig. Because like she's got fur and her fur is not blonde.
Yeah.
So like what's happening there?
It's better not to look at it, and I literally mean look at it too closely.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty hideous.
It's like a genuinely upsetting. But the gameplay functionality is turning my heart a little bit. So good nominee. The next nomination here goes to Bayonetta.
Oh yeah,
the Umbra Witch herself. I mean, the hair is her outfit, is her weapon, is how she like channels the power of angels and demons. Like, how do you say no to Bayonetta's hair?
Yeah, no, that's one of my nominees as well. I
very good.
Have another nominee, and that's Rusty from Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. And
are you nominating his hair or his toupee?
I'm nominating. Yeah, good question. I'm nominating the 3 little strands of hair that he has on the top of his head as a comb over, because I think it does such a great job of visually telling you who Rusty is and what his situation is in life. Like, he's middle-aged. He's a balding dog with 3 little
Think about
hairs.
that.
Yeah. And like, so it just like you see Rusty and it just paints a picture.
Yeah, it does. Are we including in this his out of control nose hairs?
Yeah, I am counting that.
All right, good. Mark, I have 2 more nominees.
Okay.
My next nominee is from WarioWare Get It Together, the statue whose armpits you have to tweeze. This is just like a posing statue with like 4 giant armpit hairs just like sticking out. You gotta pluck them on out. They're very impressive. But you gotta pull them out real fast. And then my final nominee, Claude Von Regan from Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Oh, such
this is
good
the leader
hair.
of the Golden Lions. That it's just or Golden Deer, sorry. That he's got like a great, like a full, like big tall head of hair, and then like a nice like braid that comes down the front. It's like a good version of the
Padawan braid.
Yep. No, thank you for being there with me on that.
100%.
And those hideous rat tails do not belong on any head of hair, but this gorgeous braid, and there's like a ribbon, like a gold ribbon that runs through it. Like, it's just, Claude is a free spirit and such a babe, and the hair is so much of that.
Table for 4, am I right?
Yes, you are. You are.
All good nominees.
I don't know if that's true. All good nominees. But only one of them can walk away a winner here. Let's start where we have started on multiple occasions when we've nominated the same the same nominee, Bayonetta.
I think Bayonetta's very good, and probably should take it. This is probably showing just my like general indifference to Bayonetta as like a franchise.
Sure.
When you're like, oh, Claude, right? Like you bring up Claude, and I'm like, should Claude win? But it's not. We might have a Waddle Dee problem here, where we should probably award the most deserving.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and not just who we are most smitten with. Okay, so then Dixie Kong gets it.
I can see the argument for Dixie Kong and Bayonetta. I feel like
I think we got to give it to Bayonetta.
Okay.
I mean, there's just
hair's her whole deal.
The hair is her whole deal. So like, what else are you gonna do? Bayonetta, the winner of outstanding performance by hair on a Nintendo character, and really the fact that it is a performance that we're grading here and not just existence.
A good point.
It is a point for sure. Next, we are awarding the Slippy Be DeFrog Award for outstanding contributions to the world of obnoxious characters. Previous winners include the dog from Duck Hunt and Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country, and 2 years ago's winner, Navi from the Ocarina of Time. Last year, we honored Dr. Kamuda from Famicom Detective Club. This year, we are honoring an obnoxious character who is out of the spotlight for over 2 decades, and it's returned to us now in Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Please congratulate, with me, Lego Jar Jar Binks. It's about time he was recognized, don't you think, Mark?
I do. Deserving winner.
All right, which means we are down to our final category for the evening. I can't believe another year coming to a close, another Cardi's wrapped up, Mark.
Unbelievable.
The final award is the final category is most baffling Nintendo moment of 2022. Now
I have just one nominee.
Wow.
For this category.
I have 4.
Oh, I am so excited to hear. Why don't you start?
No, I want to hear your one.
Okay.
It's possible that one of my 4 is your
Oh,
one.
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
My nominee is Shigeru Miyamoto appearing in the September Direct to talk about Pikmin Bloom, a mobile game that had been out for almost a year at that point.
Yes. And not just to talk about it, but just to show us how he's done in it. This is one of my nominations as well.
To really like promote it. And yeah, there were some other weird parts where he's like, and I have a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then later they're like, you can buy this t-shirt, but not in the moment. In the moment, you're just like, huh. But
Miyamoto's wearing a t-shirt.
But truly, the Pikmin Bloom part was just so weird.
And like he's showing us like the walks that he's been on. He's like, "Oh yeah, look, I was this is my normal walk." And it's like, "What?"
Yeah, is it like, are we fulfilling some sort of like contractual obligation here? Did you, because you were going to announce Pikmin 4 with just like a screenshot, you felt like you needed more Pikmin things to talk about?
I mean, really, just like show up and say like, we put out Pikmin Bloom. Pikmin 3 was a big success for us. We're doing Pikmin 4. It's still coming. It's still happening. We'd be into it. But instead, it's like 5 minutes of like looking at Miyamoto's phone.
Yeah, which, don't get me wrong, I loved how like baffling it was. It was like, is this going anywhere? Oh no, it's not. We're just going to talk about baffling. Pikmin Bloom. So yeah, that's my nominee.
That's a sole nomination from Mark Mitchell. I also nominate it. But Mark, here are the other nominees. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, never coming out.
Oh yeah, and the way they did it, where it's just like because of world events.
Well, and that was last year that it was delayed for world events.
No,
wasn't it due out in December?
It was due out in December, but they delayed it in December just to give it more time. And then it was supposed to come out in like March, and then Russia invaded Ukraine at the beginning of this year.
Right. Okay, so the first delay was like a regular delay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think the decision to like wait until that was out of the news like kind of makes sense. Like I get that. It was really unfortunate timing. The original Advance Wars came out like the week of 9/11, so like I don't know. We live in a bad world with war. If you're gonna make a war game, it's gonna echo something that's happening in the real world. But the game just like never came out, and they never like addressed it. Baffling. My next nomination is the lack of a mainline Nintendo Direct in June around the space normally occupied by E3. We did get a partner showcase, which had some heavy hitters in it, including, and get this, I sort of forgot about this, Monster Hunter Rise Daybreak, Mega Man Battle Network Collection, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Sonic Frontiers, Persona 5, 4, and 3, but no first-party stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a partner showcase, and it really just seemed like the pieces that would have been in that regular like E3 Nintendo Direct,
right?
Just the third-party stuff just excised, given its own presentation. And then Nintendo just kind of hanging out till September.
Right. Well, and there was I believe there was a Splatoon 3 Direct and a Xenoblade Direct around this time as well, which, like, yeah, I guess those probably would have filled those spaces, and we would have been a little bit like, no, that's not really new information, or like some of it kind of is, but like, yeah, it was weird that it just wasn't what we were expecting.
Right.
A full first party Nintendo Direct over the summer just didn't happen. And then my final most baffling Nintendo moment for 2022, everything around the release and attempt to sell Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition on Nintendo's website. So if you'll recall, Splatoon 3 was kicked out of the summer and into the fall, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was pulled out of the fall and into the summer. The game was done enough that they were comfortable setting an earlier release date for it. So first of all, that baffling. What a weird choice. But made further weird by the fact that they had this special collector's edition, and they sold it exclusively on Nintendo's website, Nintendo.com. And hey, guess what website isn't set up to deal with being rushed with a bunch of orders all at one time? It's Nintendo's website.
And it's like every time. Like clockwork.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So people were expecting it to be a mess, and Mark, it was. And you and I speculated at the time that, like, probably part of the reason that they were selling it all through the Nintendo website is that not all of the materials were going to be ready for it right away, because they were being developed and produced on the same timeline.
That's right.
I
forgot about that.
Fall release, but they were releasing the game in the summer. So, like, you can't ask Walmart to be like, oh, they get everything but the book. They'll get the book later. Nintendo can be like, whatever. We'll eat that inconvenience, just to get this thing out there. But then, like, it's why you have retail partners, is so that you don't have to manage like a huge influx of orders. And then Nintendo was like, well, I don't know, we made our bed here, and so the website's just gonna crash.
I totally forgot about that part where they were shipping items later because they were expecting them to be ready for the fall. Yeah, man,
that's like this. The reason I think this is such a notable baffling Nintendo moment is that it is several baffling Nintendo moments all at once, right? Of like, no, the game's actually coming out like 2 months earlier, and we're going to sell it by ourselves, and we don't know how to do that. And a piece of it will come out later.
Well, once again, we have one nominee that crosses between both of us.
Right. And maybe the most like genuinely baffling, like if that is what we are judging it by.
That's true. Some of these other ones probably have like explanations that
but that explanation I just gave was baffling.
But like the Pikmin Bloom thing, it's like, other than supposing that it's, like a contractual obligation, or Miyamoto just really wanted to talk about Pikmin Bloom.
I think that's what it must be what it is.
And you're just like, how do you say no to what Miyamoto wants to do in a Nintendo Direct?
Yeah.
A moment I will cherish in my heart always.
I mean, he must just have like carte blanche when it comes to Nintendo Direct, right?
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
If maybe they just check every time, like, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Right. Do you want to be on camera this time? And if he's like, yeah, like, what are you gonna do? you just got to do it. I mean, in that way, this is a 70-year-old man. Remember, he just had his birthday. He can't say no to Grandpa Miyamoto.
No, and maybe that's actually why we didn't get a Direct in June. And he was like, yes, and then
and then told them what he wanted to do, and they were like, I guess we're not going to do one. It's a partner showcase. All right, so we think that Miyamoto showing us his Pikmin Bloom, showing us his phone. That is wild, man.
I think so. I think that is the most baffling moment in Nintendo in 2022.
Mark, what a great year! What a great set of awards. Let's close this out. If we missed any baffling Nintendo moments or any other of the categories that we left anything out, you can email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and let us know. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you liked it, you should share it on stuff. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. We also have a Discord, which you can join by either emailing us or hitting us up on Twitter and asking for an invitation. We will be happy to let you in. Anthony DeLuca made our logo, and our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.